And diplomats and officials from both sides have been posting updates on Twitter. Both Narendra Modi and Netanyahu calling each other "my dear friend." They've met twice in the past on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. And that is what really set in motion what is being described as a new phase in the India-Israel relationship. 25 years back under P.V. Narasimha Rao, they set up diplomatic ties, and they've come a long way in the 2.5 decades since those ties were established. And Kartikeya Sharma is with us from Tel Aviv, and he is at the Jerusalem Post newsroom. Kartikeya, I'm told that the guest with you, the editor in Jerusalem Post, will be able to shed more light on the welcome ceremony that is taking place.
Well, absolutely. You know, LA, my colleagues in back Delhi studio would really like to know the sort of ceremony which is taking place. Netanyahu is standing, you know. Can you please elaborate this ceremony?
Yes.
And can you elaborate on the differences and similarity, what has been done exceptionally for Narendra Modi?
Well, looking at the pictures we're seeing now from the airport, this is exactly what happened when President Trump came a month and a half ago. The Prime Minister welcomes him on the tarmac at the airport, greets him when he comes down the stairs. As there's a procession, everyone shakes hands, and then they march together towards the end of the red carpet. They'll probably say a few words each at the microphone, and then go to Jerusalem, where I know one of the first visits is to Yad Vashem. Will be one of the Prime Minister Modi's.
That's the memorial in the memory of
the Holocaust that we
yes.
have here in Israel. That's a standard place that all visiting dignitaries, prime ministers, presidents come to when they come to visit Israel. Certainly for the first time, that's a mandatory stop, and it's an important stop. It's an important stop because Israel needs to show the visitor where we're coming from, and Israel as a country is coming from out of the ashes of the Holocaust, out of the Shoah, and this is a part of the national ethos of what Israel's about, and so we bring all guests to there to see this important location, Yad Vashem, and then he'll probably go to the hotel, the King David Hotel, the hotel usually reserved for dignitaries who come to visit Israel. In fact, Prime Minister Modi will be staying in the same room as President Trump stayed, King David.
You know, this time I have noticed one thing, Eddie, that apart from the fact that number of bilateral meetings, Prime Minister Modi is also focusing on a lot of business. You see, terrorism is there. That's out on the table, that Israel and India should partner on the issues of terrorism.
Absolutely.
There is no doubt about it. India suffers from terrorism, so does Israel. But there is also renewed vigor, or I would say, now the doors have opened, Palki, as we can see, but the Prime Minister has not come out. But even then, the focus on business this time is very high, and civilian technologies is very, very high. Has it been done with purpose?
Yes, because Israel has a lot to offer in a lot of different areas across the board. One example, agriculture. Israel developed something called drip technology. Drip technology is the pipes that go into the ground where vegetation is growing with small holes, and it drips water so it doesn't flood the area. It drips it, and it's calculated how much water over how much time in 24 hours, a little bit more, a little bit less. This is an example of technology that Israel has developed that shares with the world. It's shared itself with many African countries as well. This is an example on agriculture. In technology, Israel's known as the startup nation because it's very innovative in the technology it produces. We have some very intelligent people in the tech world working in Tel Aviv, producing all these different apps and technological areas of expertise.
I went to your agriculture university. There are a lot of Indians studying here. I was surprised to know that in the Volcano University, there are 10% Indians. You know, there are 2,000 students, which means there are 200 Indians out there. You know, I was pretty surprised because it's like in 80s when Soviet Union crumbled, a lot of people went to CIS countries to study medicine. It was cheaper. Here, people are making a choice to come to this country on certain civilian technologies?
They have to. We because of the things that we can offer. We should turn off that clock on the phone. That'll keep.
No, but.
המשמר יעבור לדום. משמר דום.
Well, they are behaving like old friends. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel shaking hands and hugging each other as Narendra Modi lands in Tel Aviv. That's the Indian ambassador in Israel, Pawan Kapoor, who received the Prime Minister. No ministers on the Modi delegation. We're waiting to see if the National Security Advisor is with him. He'll be staying at the King David Hotel and will be visiting the Holocaust Memorial. That'll be his first pit stop after this welcome ceremony is over.
משמר יחטיף את נשקו. חטף, צ'ק!
Let's take you back to Kartikeya Sharma and the editor of the Jerusalem Post. I'm sorry I've not caught his name. Kartikeya, the grand welcome ceremony is unfolding as we speak. The first stop, I understand, is the Holocaust Memorial.
Yes, yes. So, you know, I was asking this to LA, was this a hug, a normal gesture between two prime ministers? Was it more than that? Are you surprised to see Netanyahu behave like that?
I've never seen that before. That's extraordinary for our prime minister to hug someone with a smile on his face, the same smile that Prime Minister Modi gave to Netanyahu. as the two of them embraced not just two leaders of countries, but warm personal friendship that you just don't see. You just don't see. That hug will be
like good friends,
like best friends. It'll be talked about and written about in newspapers and television tomorrow, everywhere in this country. What that picture shows of that hug,
a brother hug,
a hug of brother, two brothers seeing each other and happy to see each other, happy to.
Does this give a lot of confidence to people in Israel or those who really wanted Israel to invest in India politically in terms of political moral capital, that both the countries can openly come out against issues like global terrorism, ISIS, Al-Qaeda?
No question about it, that hug is affecting Israelis who are watching this. It tells Israelis they have a real friend in India. It is a warm, loving, embracing, confidence-building moment. And, of course, with that kind of friendship and that kind of feeling of support that Prime Minister Modi expressed there, showed there.
But if you have described it so beautifully. But if I'm looking at these visuals, there are a lot of religious leaders being present on the tarmac also.
Yes, they're walking. You see now they're walking.
Yes. But the camera has not panned out.
Yes.
Has it happened earlier? I as a person, I want to know that are these the preparations? Are these preparations? Are the things which we are seeing on our channel? Is this new? Is it happening for the first time? This sort of a congregation on the tarmac?
Well, no. The tarmac visit happens for many, many world leaders, and then they proceed after coming down the tarmac. In the case of President Trump, there was a line, a greeting line, if you will, of all the members of the cabinet who were there. We'll see in a second who's on the line, and there are it will be a number of Israeli dignitaries, political leaders, social leaders, community leaders from all the different communities of Israel, from the Muslim community, the Christian community, the Druze community, the religious Jewish communities. They're all will be there, I'm guessing, as they're walking now down the tarmac. And then they'll say a couple of words.
Tell me one thing, how will this be received by the media? Generally, a lot of things happen the way we think the media will react abroad. It doesn't. Do you think that this meeting will be the headline of every newspaper in Israel?
Absolutely. This is a major historic moment, and all Israelis recognize. The Prime Minister of India, the largest democracy in the world, one of the largest countries in the world.
No, I haven't seen anything like that, after the...
Prime Minister, we've been waiting for you a long time. We've been waiting almost 70 years, in fact, because yours is truly a historic visit. It's the first time an Indian Prime Minister is visiting Israel. We receive you with open arms. We love India. We admire your culture. We admire your history, your democracy, your commitment to progress. We view you as kindred spirits in our common quest to provide a better future for our peoples and for our world. Prime Minister, when I first met you at the United Nations 3 years ago, we agreed to break down the remaining walls between India and Israel. We shook each other's hands, and we agreed to forge a historic partnership for progress. We then met again in Paris, and since then we've spoken many times on the phone. But I remember, my friend, what you said in that first meeting. You said that when it comes to India-Israel's relations, the sky is the limit. But actually, my friend, the sky isn't the limit, because today, even our space programs are working together to achieve even greater heights. The ties between our talented, innovative peoples is natural. It's so natural that we could ask, what took so long for them to blossom? Well, It took a meeting of minds and hearts. It took a commitment of our governments. We have that today. On this visit, your Make in India initiative meets my Make with India policy. We're setting up a $40 million innovation fund as the seed for even greater cooperation on technology between us. Our partnership extends to water, agriculture, security, energy, many, many other fields. I believe the formula for success is simple. It's I square, T square. That equals Indian talent times Israeli technology. It equals Israel, India's ties for tomorrow. I square, T square. Now, I'm confident, this is the degree of mathematics I remember from my student days, but I'm confident of the real mathematics of life. I'm confident of the success of our partnership for many reasons. First is the talent of our peoples. It's been said, Prime Minister, that in Silicon Valley in California, the two most common languages overheard are Hindi and Hebrew. Occasionally, one hears some native English too. Second, I believe in the success of our partnership because of the great sympathy between our peoples, the natural camaraderie between Indians and Israelis. The Jews of India and the 100,000 Israelis of Indian descent are a wonderful human bridge between our two nations, our two peoples. Third, I'm confident of our success because of leadership. Prime Minister Modi, you're a great leader of India and a great world leader. Your visit to Israel is a testament to that. Our two peoples have deeply held values rooted in ancient cultures, yet we both seek to realize the promise of a better future. I know, and this visit marks that very clearly, I know that we can do even more, even better together. Welcome to Israel, my friend, Prime Minister Modi. Shukran. Thank you.
גבירותיי ורבותיי, יש לנו הכבוד לשמוע את דבר אורחנו המכובד, ראש ממשלת הודו, הוד מעלתו, נרנדרה מודי. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
Excellency Prime Minister Netanyahu, ladies and gentlemen, Shalom, Leklam, Anisemia Mayot, Lehiat Po. It is my singular honor to be the first ever Prime Minister of India to undertake this groundbreaking visit to Israel. I want to thank my friend, Prime Minister Netanyahu, for the invitation and for receiving me with so much warmth. My visit celebrates the strength of centuries-old links between our societies. Based on these bonds of our partnership, has maintained a strong and sustained upswing since the establishment of full relationship, diplomatic relations 25 years ago. Friends, the people of Israel have built a nation on democratic principles. They have nurtured it with hard work, greed, and the spirit of innovation. You have marched on regardless of adversity and converted challenges into opportunity. India applauds your achievements. Today is July 4. Exactly 41 years since Operation Entebbe. The day when your Prime Minister and my friend Bibi lost his elder brother Yoni while saving the lives of so many Israel hostages. Your heroes are an inspiration for the younger generations. Friends, India is a very old civilization, but a young nation. 800 million people in India are below 35 years of age group. The talented and skilled youth of India are also its driving force. They propel my vision to transform India, its industry, its economy, its way of doing business, and its interface with the world. Friends, in our path of sustained high growth and all-round development, India counts Israel amongst its important partners. The need to rely on science, technology, innovation, and higher technical education to overcome our developmental challenges to common to both of us. The domains also bring together the creative energy and ideas of the highly skilled youth and entrepreneurs of the two countries. Alongside building a partnership for shared economic prosperity, we are also cooperating to secure our societies against common threats such as terrorism. A progressive partnership in all these areas would shape the scope of my conversation with Prime Minister, my friend Netanyahu. I'm also keen to interact with the Indian diaspora in Israel, including a large number of Jews of Indian origin who have enriched both our societies. Excellency and friends, my visit marks a path-breaking journey of engagement, a journey that we are excited to undertake together for the good of our people and societies. As we march together, a strong and resilient partnership with Israel will be my intent and focus. I thank you once again for this tremendous welcome. Thank you very much.
So you heard the address from the Indian Prime Minister and the Israeli Prime Minister. Warm hugs, long handshakes, greetings in Hebrew. And Narendra Modi dressed in the colors of the Israeli flag, white bandgala with a blue pocket square. So in terms of symbolism, one would say full marks to both sides. Kartikeya Sharma continues to be with us. Kartikeya, the bonhomie is evident. I'm losing count of the number of times they've hugged each other so far.
Oh yes, absolutely. The sort of speech, LA, the speech which we just saw between both the prime ministers. How do you describe it? I want our viewers back home to know you as a journalist, as an editor of Jerusalem Post. How would you sum it up for your own people and people back at home, my place, India?
Okay, so first let's talk about Israeli Prime Minister. who spoke the words of warmth and welcome. Very, very, very good. Talked about the friendships between the two people. He mentioned the Jews in India who've come here, something which also Prime Minister Modi talked about. He called him a great world leader. He spoke about the technology.
He spoke about Hindi.
He spoke about
Hindi. He said Hebrew and Hindi.
Yes.
The two known languages in universities there.
Yes. In Silicon Valley.
Yes.
And it's true because both Indian innovation and technology and Israeli that's taking place there in Silicon Valley. The speech by Prime Minister Modi was extraordinary. As an Israeli listening to that, it was brilliant. To speak on July 4th, American Independence Day, but to recall what happened 41 years ago, the raid on Entebbe, when Israel sent the commandos to bring back the hostages that were being held in Entebbe, in an operation that led to the death of Prime Minister Netanyahu's brother, Yoni Netanyahu, one of the leaders of that operation. That was a brilliant thing for Prime Minister Modi to do. It speaks very, very strongly to Israel and Israelis who remember that moment, historic moment, freeing all the hostages, losing someone in the process, in the battle, Prime Minister Netanyahu's brother. It endears him to Prime Minister Netanyahu by giving respect and condolence, if you will, to Prime Minister Netanyahu's brother. And for Israelis to hear that, extraordinary. It touches all Israelis deeply to have the Prime Minister of India recall that and speak about that, because today happens to be July 4th when it took place.
Narendra Modi also made one more very important statement. He said that this is the beginning of a very strong and a very important and ambitious journey. That's how he has ended his speech. Whereas Netanyahu used the brother, as you had mentioned to me half an hour back, and he used this in his speech. He used the word brother.
Yes, it's obvious. It's really very clear that these two men have a deep, personal, warm relationship. They like each other. They respect each other. They also understand the advantages to both countries in forging this relationship, in furthering this relationship across the board in almost every area possible. It will benefit both countries, and they're excited.
Okay, Eli, we'll come back to you, Palki. So very beautifully being described by my colleague, my friend in Jerusalem Post, and he says that it's unprecedented, extraordinary, and he feels that this sort of courtesy has not been extended in a way, in an emotional way, by any Israeli Prime Minister. Palki.
Right, so we're looking at the ceremony, the Indian Prime Minister meeting various religious and community leaders who are part of the Netanyahu delegation. And he'll be visiting the Holocaust Memorial. Surya, one final word before we wrap this. What do you make of the first encounter that you saw?
Well, the optics are great. I mean, hugs and
more
I
hugs.
wonder what they spoke to each other, I'd love to know that. I wish there were some mics that could pick that up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it looks great. I mean, this is on parallel with what we've seen Mr. Modi do with other world leaders, I think he has a knack for this. And it would seem that if these welcome ceremonies are any indication, this visit is off to a great start.
Yes, it looks like it, and he has a packed schedule. He's visiting an agricultural university, he's visiting a war memorial, among other things, in the next 2 days, and Karthikeya will be bringing us all the very latest on that. Karthikeya, what is his next destination after the Holocaust Memorial?
Yes. No, Palki, that will be a little later. First, they'll go to Volcani Institute, where a lot of people are there. Then they go to the Then they go for the signing ceremony to the Holocaust Memorial. Actually, the whole I would say there's a group of Indian students who are going to brief him, and tomorrow they're going to question him. I had interviewed them today afternoon. It's a mind-blowing place. Something which was a desert some years back is turned all green. It was 45 scorching degree heat, but it was full of trees there, and all the Indian students will be there, and the director will take him and he'll go to brief the Prime Minister on drip irrigation, precision farming, agricultural technology. And I met students, Palki, who were doing scientific work on plants, vegetables, and global, I would say, the climate change which is taking place. And they were contextualizing in terms of India, that how do we increase our produce. So for him to go also to give a signal that, he is willing to invest in non-defense sectors also. Another way both Israel and India can cooperate. I had a brilliant time there, talking to those students.
There is a sizable Indian community, more than 85,000 Jews of Indian origin, who are also waiting to meet the Indian Prime Minister. There's a big ceremony that is being planned, not really on the scale of a Madison Square or a Wembley, but big by the standards of Israel. It's a small country, small population, so 4,000 to 5,000 people are expected to gather.
There will also be a big and unprecedented, I think, in Israel. I mean, I don't recall any other leader having that kind of a reception, I don't think even Trump did. Trump was more businesslike, and
it was a very short visit.
It was a very short visit,
not even a full day.
Yeah, and this is much longer. And
this is much longer.
But I think the circumstances are also different. India and Israel are getting together for the first time, officially in full public view, for the very first time, and I think that deserves the kind of optics that we are seeing before us.
Right. A lot of Indians, understandably, are very keen to attend. Karthikeya, many people who call themselves friends of India, who are Israelis, also said that that they want to attend, but they're not welcome, and they want to see what the ceremony is going to look like. The meeting with the Indian diaspora.
Well, see, I think the media will get its place here, but yeah, a lot of other people could not, because I have seen in a lot of meetings, they need to really select. Then you have a security issue here. But what has happened is that the BJP from the organization has flown in Vinay Sahasrabudhe, who heads the foreign cell. So there is some sort of working in tandem between the government and the party. But nonetheless, sometimes changes are made. I remember in a couple of times that certain last-minute changes were made and media was allowed. But nonetheless, LA wanted to make two important points. He has been waiting to make those points. Yeah, please go on.
I just thought this is very, very good, very smart, and helping to strengthen the relationship. Prime Minister Modi mentioned the fact that both countries are old civilizations, but young nations. We go back thousands of years, both countries, as countries, and yet we became nations at the same time, 1947, 1948. And that's important also because we have a lot of history, and we clearly have a great future. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful day one of a relationship that's building between our two countries.
The day, it's a long time here, a Palki for the day to close in. But yes, he has a packed schedule. And tomorrow will be the day to watch out, because he'll have a lot of bilaterals tomorrow. There's a lot of one-on-one meeting. There'll be a joint press statement tomorrow also. So tomorrow is a power-packed day, Palki. It's a power-packed day tomorrow.
Karthikeya, this is Archit now coming in. Thanks for joining us. I know the mood must certainly be exciting there as the Prime Minister walks in there. A red carpet welcome for Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he arrives in Israel just a short while ago. Karthikeya, you've been there on the ground a little bit now. What has been the mood like there, especially with Indians and just generally with Israelis there? How excited are they? What is the preparation like, the sort of the sentiment on the ground?
Oh, they're absolutely excited. There's great excitement here. Acknowledgement of the fact that the Prime Minister Modi has taken so much of time. For me, I have covered so many tours, but I haven't seen even media to be excited. LA is with me, senior editor of Jerusalem Post, and he's been telling me that certain things are completely exceptional. They have been done just for the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But LA, there is also a CEO's business meet. What sort of business, I would say, leaders would be meeting the Prime Minister?
I assume that Prime Minister Modi came with business leaders from India who will be meeting Israeli business leaders. Every time Prime Minister Netanyahu goes to another country, he always takes a business delegation with him. I'm sure there will be bilateral discussions between the businessmen from your country, from my country. They will discuss how to further develop business ties across the board. There will be political meetings with the President, Rivlin, will meet with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu, of course, will meet with him again. And they'll have a joint press conference. There'll be other political leaders, perhaps the opposing parties. There'll be a little bit of touring, of course, to show him the country.
Really?
If they have time. Actually, I don't know the total schedule. I know he's meeting with Indians.
But because I know certain parts of the schedule have been kept completely off the book because of security.
Yes, no, that always is the case. I believe there's going to be a meeting with the Indian Jewish community living here in Israel. And that's a wonderful thing. It should be a wonderful 3-day visit for the Prime Minister. Thank you for having me on your show.
Okay, so LA really has to make a run. I've really bothered LA, Archit. In middle of his newsroom meet. We'll be coming back to you from Israel, but I have to really let go of him. I've actually delayed him for 1.5 hours. But it's going to continue. He's going to go to the Welconi Institute. He's going to meet students there, and once that is done, Archit, there's going to be a private dinner, and at 8 p.m. India time, 11:30 p.m. there's going to be a press conference in terms of what happened today.
All right, Karthikeya, thank you so much for all of those updates.